You might have just bought a house, or maybe you own a house and you're ready to do some renovation work. With hiring a contractor comes a lot of responsibility in ensuring that you're getting the right person to work on your house, because if you don't, you're going to be in for probably a not so good ride. And so in this video, I'm going to give you my recommendations of how to get the right contractor in, and just some tips along the way to ensure that the renovations that you're about to get in your house, that it all turns out okay. Number one is find out for the type of work that you're going to be doing if you need to hire somebody that has a general contractor license, or maybe even a skilled tradesperson's license. So here in Florida, the construction industry is governed by the Florida legislature, and the legislature regulates the Florida general contractor license requirements. And so typically for small repair work, such as basic yard work or maybe cabinet installations, typically a license is not required. But once you get into remodeling and structural work inside of your home, a license is going to be required. Foundation work, for example, moving walls around, you're going to make sure that the person that you hire in has the right licenses. If you do electric work, typically you would want to look for a licensed electrician. If you're doing extensive plumbing work, you're going to want to make sure that you hire a licensed plumber. Now, let's just assume you found the right people, they're licensed, or so they tell you. Make sure that you verify their license. I would not take their word for it. I would actually double check it with the DBPR. So there's a website you can go to, you plug in the person's name, and you can verify their license. Too often than not, I've actually caught contractors lying about the name of their business and the fact that they've had a license. So make sure you verify that information. It's your right to do so. Doesn't mean that you don't trust people. You just want to make sure that you are protecting yourself. A very good friend of mine went to Nextdoor, basically commented that she needed somebody to do renovations work at her house, and this one person answered her. She brought him in for a meet and greet, kind of like an interview. Guy was a very smooth talking guy, and he basically convinced her to do the project. And so she gave him the full price that was quoted, which is number one red flag. You never ever want to pay for the full price up front. Typically what a lot of contractors will do is ask for a down payment of some kind, maybe to purchase the materials, and then a payment plan thereafter, but never ever for the full amount. So that was the first mistake she made. But also she believed him when he said he was licensed, and she also believed the name of his business. He had letterhead actually that he presented to her. The contract was written on it and it had his full name on it, which was all a lie. After she paid him, he was very reluctant to return her phone calls, and after a while started disappearing. She started researching this guy and came to find out that the name of the business wasn't valid. It wasn't licensed. On Google, there were a lot of different platforms actually that talked about him being a con artist. He's known to go to Nextdoor, finds his prey, asks people to pay him up front, and disappears. That's how he makes his money. Had she done her due diligence, had she researched him beforehand, this probably would have never happened, and she could have really avoided a lot of aggravation and the loss of the money. This whole big story brings me to my next point, and that is make sure that you research your contractors. Best thing is to actually get them through a friend referral, but still research the contractor, make sure the person is truly licensed. I would check their Google reviews online to see what other people are saying. If there's some negative comments, it's going to give you some things to think about before you move ahead. Now, you found a few contractors that you feel really good with. They come with referrals, or maybe they have really good Zillow reviews. You verified their information, they're legit. What you want to do is talk to at least 3 of them and get them to quote the job. Unfortunately, there's a lot of contractors out there that are really exploiting the shortage of labor situation and spiking up their prices just because there's no other option, or maybe the waiting period is too long for another contractor. Make sure you get plenty of quotes and don't feel pressured to signing up with somebody right away. So I'm going to draw from my own recent experience, and that is I am getting hurricane-proof windows. Actually, they're going to be delivered fairly soon, in a month's time, but I went through the research process months ago. I think it was almost a year ago at this point. The window installation was really pushed out because there's a lot of demand for hurricane-proof windows. But as I'm going through the research stage, I ended up deciding on 3 different window install providers, and all of them came with recommendations. So I had 3 providers that I talked to, and the prices ranged by $40,000. The most affordable was $80,000, and the most expensive was $120,000 and $125,000, which was just absurd. So there's a lot of people out there taking advantage of others who are doing remodeling work, unfortunately. So make sure you shop different prices, and believe me, the prices can vary dramatically for the same service. So I went with the lowest price provider, not just because the price was the lowest, but also the salesperson was very natural in his approach. The other 2 had hardcore sales pitches that were very off-putting to me, quite honestly. And I gotta tell you, if you're a contractor, that will not work most of the time. I had this one guy basically saying that if you sign up right now, I can give you a deal. Instead of $110,000, this is going to be $100,000, but you have to sign up in the next hour. And so they're putting a lot of pressure on you, and I just didn't like the pressure. So I would never recommend that company. I think their sales approach to getting customers is just absolutely terrible. And when they saw that I just wasn't budging, I wasn't going to sign right there and then, the guy said,
"Oh, wait a second, I can do even better. I'll just have to call my boss to see if I can lower it to $95,000.
And so he made a call to his boss, blah, blah, blah. And yes, I was able to get it at $95,000 if I was going to sign that same day. No, that is not good business practice. You do not pressure your customers. You need to allow them time to make the best decision for them. And so that leads me to my next point, and that is go with your gut feeling. I felt really good with Gary from Sarasota Glass and Windows. That's actually who was going to be installing my hurricane-proof windows. He was just so natural at his approach, very likable guy, and did not hard sell me. So going back to payments, I kind of brushed on this, but you never ever want to pay for the job full. You'll never hear from them again, or even if you hear back from them, they're just not going to be motivated to working really hard to getting the job done because they already made that money up front. So make sure that you have a payment plan that makes sense and that motivates them to continue to work through the different milestones and giving you the best service they can, while the last payout is after an inspection, ensuring that you are a happy customer. For some minor renovations, it might actually make more sense for you to just learn how to do it yourself. And there's just so many YouTube videos that can teach you how to do it yourself, such as painting. So I just recently painted my fireplace because I called people to come in, handymen, and they just were too busy or just wasn't big enough of a job for them. So I decided, you know what, in the interest of time, I'm just gonna watch YouTube videos and we're gonna get it done. So in my household, we've taught ourselves how to hang up mirrors, of course, paint, change doorknobs, fixing the ground, just easy stuff that no handyman is really going to want to come to your house for because there's just not enough money to be made. There's plenty of renovations jobs out there right now, shortage of labor, that I feel like unless the potential job is worth $3,000 to $5,000 and up, it's like pulling teeth to getting people to come in, to even providing you for a quote. So basic things, maybe teach it yourself. YouTube videos is a great place to start. The intention of this video was to ensure that you avoid these types of pitfalls in order to make your renovations job successful. Do me a favor, let us know what else we can watch out for in the renovations process. Leave us a comment below, and thank you so much for watching today. I really, really appreciate it.